Welcome back to the Gear for Music Drums channel, guys. My name is Theo, and today I'm joined by my good friend Jamie from Alesis. And Jamie has got something very special with him today. He has the brand new Alesis Nitro Max kit. But before we get into the kit, let's talk about what made the Nitro Mesh so popular and why we sold so many.
Sure. The original Nitro Mesh was all mesh drums, which was fantastic because mesh is really the playing surface that you want. It's easier to play on than rubber. It's quieter. It feels better. It's just the premium technology for making drum pads. So that's the main reason why the Nitro Mesh was so popular. But we've managed to improve it.
Yeah, and I think the Nitro Mesh just came in at the sort of right angle for those beginner drummers and offered the mesh surface. And a mesh surface is really important because it gives you a natural rebound feel when playing the kit, more similar to an acoustic kit feel. So when you transition from an electric kit onto an acoustic kit, that transition is much easier. But there are some definite changes in terms of looks with the Nitro Max. So let's go through a few of those, shall we?
Sure thing. First thing you'll notice, I think, is probably the white drum heads.
Yeah,
so instead of the black ones, we've got white drum heads now. Again, it gives you more of that real drum kit feel, and they feel great to play. We've also got a bigger snare drum, which is nice now. So the previous Nitro kit had an 8-inch dual zone snare drum. We've now got a 10-inch one. So a bigger drum brings you, again, that feeling of a real drum kit. Just a bit more scale, easier to play, more comfortable to sit behind.
100%. It gives you more playable surface like you would do if you have a standard 14-inch size drum. But the more playable surface you have, the better you can get with how accurate you are at playing the drum, and you can really practice, those different elements. So that's really useful to have that as well. And I noticed a splash of colour.
Yeah, that's right.
This kit, which we didn't have before.
There is, yeah. So you've got a really nice kind of vintage red swirl wrap around the drums. Again, it takes you more to that real drum kit feel.
And similar to the Nitro Mesh, so we have the same bass drum pedal, same hi-hat, and also the same cymbal configuration.
That's right, yeah. So we've got an upright kick drum pad with a real chain drive bass drum pedal. Again, it's exactly the same as you'd find on a real drum kit. So that comes in the box. You get the pedal with it. You've got a chokeable crash cymbal, another real drum kit technique where you hit a cymbal and you grab it to choke the sound. Do the same thing with the crash cymbal. We've got a ride cymbal over here which responds as you play more loudly. The sound changes, so you get the bell sound. We've got the hi-hat pad over here and a hi-hat pedal, which will give you, in addition to the open and closed feeling that you get, you can also have half open, which is really nice, and you can also do heel splashes on it, just like a real hi-hat.
Yeah, and I will say that playing this kit earlier, in this sort of price range for an electronic drum kit, the hi-hat is normally the thing which is the crux. So it's normally the hardest thing for a manufacturer to get right. But playing this is super playable and it feels really realistic. I'm someone that steps the hi-hat quite a lot when they play. And the response from this kit I just found was absolutely great. So it's a really nice feature on this kit, the hi-hat mechanism that we have working here. So that's a lot of new features on the Nitro Max kit, but what would be really interesting to know is how does that translate to a drummer? Why are these features good for a new drummer or somebody that needs to use an electronic kit because they can't play an acoustic one?
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about the snare drum first. So we've got a bigger snare drum now, 10-inch instead of 8, so that's a bit closer to a real drum size. This is a dual zone snare drum pad as well. Now, what that means is when you play a real drum, you can get different sounds. You can hit the middle of the drum, you can hit just the rim, you can hit both the middle and the rim, and you can get distinct sounds that way. So by having a dual zone pad like this one, you can get the regular snare drum sound, and you can get the side stick sound for those sensitive ballad moments. You can also get a rim shot, which is where you hit the middle of the drum and the rim, and the whole drum just goes boing. I'll show you what that means. Middle of the drum. So that's what a dual zone 10-inch snare drum will bring to you. We also talked about cymbal chokes. So a cymbal choke is where you grab an acoustic cymbal and the sound cuts off, like this. So that's another technology that we can bring to this drum kit. Also, we talked about the bass drum pedal. You've got a real upright kicked pad, just like a real bass drum, and you've got a bass drum pedal, which is exactly the same, actually, as you'd find on an acoustic drum kit. So that means you can play relatively complicated bass drum parts. So you can get double strokes. Much harder to do that on the other types of electronic kits where you've just got a flat pedal on the ground.
For sure. And as someone that's worked in retail for a while, selling drum kits to people, and someone that's taught drums as well, something that I always say to people when they're looking to get an acoustic kit is make sure you get a normal bass drum pedal, because you're going to have that real feel. And those techniques, like those playing those doubles, you can't match it. You can't do it on anything else. You have to have the physical pedal in order to do that. So a kit at this price that comes with one of those is really important. It's a great feature as well.
Absolutely right. We also spoke about the hi-hat. So you've got the hi-hat pedal on the floor. Now, a real drum kit has cymbals that go up and down, and as you push your foot on the pedal, the cymbals clamp down, the sound gets shorter. So we have that effect here. We also have a halfway stage, because again, like a real drum set, where the cymbals get slightly loosened, you get an intermediate sound. So you can clearly hear the transition between tightly closed, intermediate, and open. Again, it just means that you've got that much more expression on the drums, and when you take your skills to a real drum kit, you'll be better prepared.
So we've talked about most of the physical changes on the kit, and there's some really killer features in there which are going to be great for any drummer of any level when coming to this kit. One thing I have noticed though is there are some big changes on the module. So if you could take me through a few of those, that would be absolutely awesome, Jamie.
Sure thing. So the Nitro Max module improves on the previous Nitro Mesh module. There's quite a few improvements, actually. First one to talk about is the sounds. So the previous Nitro had 385 sounds. We've now got 440 sounds in here. But interestingly and crucially, they are BFD derived. Now, BFD is a world-leading sample library of drum sounds. These drum sounds have been recorded to absolute perfection. They're the best drums in the best studios with the best microphones. You can use these on your computer, and you can make recordings at home using this library of samples, and they sound amazing. Now, what we've managed to do is we've managed to incorporate some of those sounds into this module. So you have some of the incredible sounds in there. So that's a real step up in terms of the sound quality and the feel. It just feels like you're playing a real kit. So BFD derived sounds in there. We've also now got Bluetooth streaming. So that brings audio into the module.
So important, I think. For today's drummer, the young people that are learning, to have that feature is so important. No more cables, having to worry about aux cables breaking, or trying to figure out how to play on your phone and hear yourself at the same time. You can just stream directly to it, and you can play to all your favorite music then. Definitely. Which I think is so important for anybody learning or progressing as a musician, to be able to play along to music and discover your own musicality on the kit. So that's a really great feature.
So in addition to the Bluetooth and the new sounds, the Nitro Max module also has great coaching modes built in. It's got a metronome built in, which is so crucial when you're learning, so important. And it's actually got a visual groove check on the metronome as well. So as you play, it shows you on the screen whether you're playing early or late. It's a simple tool, but it's so useful for getting your groove bang on.
I don't know if I want to see...
Well, if you're worried about that, there's other modes in here which will actually give you a percentage score. So there's 50, built into this module, there's 50 coaching exercises. What they do is they play you something, usually 4 bars long, then you've got to play it back, and at the end you get a percentage score. Higher the better, obviously. Getting 100% is actually quite tough on all of these.
Yeah. I can imagine it being tough, as we are not machines.
No, exactly.
We are men.
That's right, exactly. But even though practicing these things, it just helps you to get really fluid. It helps you to get really clear on with your instrument, and it turns you into a better drummer for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And those coaching features are really helpful, and it kind of gamifies it in a way because you want to improve your score, you want to get better and better. And I think that's a really cool feature. You can get lost in just trying to nail timing over and over again.
Absolutely right. On that same subject as well, you can also record yourself on this. So you can play a little bit, either with the built-in songs or on your own, and then you can hear it back. Now, doing it just on the module, really simply, again, it sounds simple, but it's never the same. You know, when you're playing, you think, oh, it's in your head, you think it's a certain way. Then you listen back to the recording and you find, oh, I rushed into that a little bit. I didn't quite get that bit right. So even just a simple act of recording yourself and listening to it back is really helpful to sharpen your skills.
100%. Right, so that's the features on the module itself, but I do notice there's a tablet on top of there. Now, how is that fixed to the unit?
Yeah, okay. We've got a nifty little tray here built into the module, and you can put your phone or your tablet on there. Now, that's really handy because remember, we've got Bluetooth streaming in here, so you can bring your audio in. Also, we have some educational software add-ons that are free with this. So you get a Drumeo subscription to 90 days. Drumeo can run on your tablet or your smartphone, and you can see the lessons on the screen. It shows you, in some cases, notation. In other cases, it shows you somebody playing something, and you can play along with it. So it can sit there on your module, and you can work through the lessons.
For those of you that aren't aware of what Drumeo is, basically it's a huge online education resource for drummers. We'll leave a link to it in the description of the video so you can have a look. But there are courses on pretty much everything that you need as a drummer, from the basics to the way more advanced stuff. And the icing on the cake really with Drumeo is they have so many lessons with so many influential drummers, huge drummers, so many names on there, and you can basically get lessons on Drumeo from the greats. And 90 days is a long amount of, you can learn so much in 90 days of so many people. So that's really great that comes completely free with the Nitro Max kit.
Absolutely, and of course you can continue your subscription afterwards if you want to, or just cut it there. But it's a great way to get started. There's so much there to study.
100%.
We've also got Melodics too. So that's another separate free value add software that comes with this kit. So Melodics is it looks a bit like Rock Band. It's an app that you load onto your tablet or your smartphone. And it doesn't work in the same way as Drumeo does. It's a different approach. It's more like a grid-based system where it shows you in time what notes to play, and because it's connected to your module, it will give you a score at the end, and you get 60 free lessons. A lesson is a song, and you get 60 free lessons with this kit.
And we have done a video on Melodics before where Adam, who's an absolutely lovely guy, but unfortunately he is a guitarist, he works at Gift Music, and he had to go with the Melodic software. And it was a lot of fun, and it really does teach you how to play drums, and it gamifies it in a way, like we said, like Rock Band, like Guitar Hero. And on there's a bunch of songs that you can play to and learn the drum parts. And it's just another interactive way of kind of approaching the drums as an instrument, you know, gamifies it and makes it a little bit more accessible for everybody, I would say.
Absolutely.
And there is also one more freebie that comes with the kit, because you did touch on it earlier, and that's BFD, which is the drum software which you can use with your computer.
Absolutely, that's right. So BFD is that big sample library you mentioned earlier. So these are amazing drums, amazing studios, amazing mics, recorded beautifully. And you actually get a version of this, which is free to keep forever, which you load on your PC or your Mac. You connect up this kit to that computer, and then you trigger those sounds in that computer. And you can either just play them out that way, or you can then record them into your software, the DAW software that you're using. And you'll truly get world-beating drum recordings that way. And you get that sound pack for free.
Which is great, because I mean, there are a lot of sounds in this kit already, but I think everyone probably gets to the point where they want to explore further when you've been practicing so much. And I think you'll be hard pressed to exhaust all the sounds that are in this kit, but to know that there are extra options there. And the drums do sound really awesome. And there's loads of parameters in which you can change and you can mess around, you can get creative, which I think is what the Nitro Max is really doing. Like with the new hardware edition, so the larger snare, the hi-hat, the kick pedal, it really allows you to express yourself. And I think sometimes things that can be lost on an electronic kit is the expression as a drummer. But all these features together, so you've got the hardware, you've got the new sounds in the module, you've got all your learning tools, and you've got BFD included in that as well. You can get way more expressive and sort of find your voice on an electric instrument, which is something that's been difficult to do in the past. And I think the kit itself is absolutely fantastic, and I love the red on it as well.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for stopping by, Jamie, and showing us the new kit. It's been a real pleasure having you. Please do let us know what you think of the new kit in the comments below. And it is available now from Gear for Music, so you can find that in the link below the video. As always, please do not forget to give us a like and subscribe so you can catch more drum content like this in the future. I've been Theo. Have a great day. Bye.